Maya Angelou wrote a poem. It's called Humankind. And in that poem, it says, I'm going to read a little bit of it to you. It says, I note the obvious differences between each sort and type. She's talking about people here. But we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how, as a humankind, we are all the same. Y'all, when you get right down to it, we are made up of the exact same things, and we are full of the same elements. Okay, so I took a training recently about COVID, and in this training, they said that one way to protect others is to create a culture of care. And that struck me. First of all, I love the alliteration, but secondly, creating a culture of care. I thought, this shouldn't be exclusive to COVID. This should be something that we want in our societies all the time. Societies that create cultures of care for others, right? And I thought, especially this time of year, because isn't it ironic that right now, I don't know about you, but I can become pretty consumed with the ugliness of humanity. I look on TV, I see all these negative stories. It's like we're constantly being filled with, oh, those people didn't follow the protocols and look what happened to them, or look what they're doing to us, or at the grocery store. How come those people, they got nervous and they bought all the products and now there's none, right? We can become very consumed with this idea that the world is an ugly, horrible place and that there's all these people out there who don't give a crap about anybody else. But you know what? I would challenge our thinking. I would challenge our thinking not only to realize that there is a whole lot around us of good, but also to challenge us. Am I creating a culture of care in my community? Would someone say that I care about others? And I know I'm talking about a pretty big subject here, and I don't mean to point fingers and be like, well, there's people who don't care, or whatever, because we don't know what somebody's situation is. And that's the thing, is we can never judge anybody else because we don't know why they're acting the way they're acting, or if there is a perfectly valid reason for why they're acting the way they're acting. We don't know if the person next door who's having a party is having a party because they're just selfish, or maybe they've been going through something and they have been just so depressed. And by having that person over, it is helping them persevere through this time. And we don't know, and who are we to say? It's not my place. And I'm glad I don't have that responsibility, because I definitely should not be the one evaluating anybody on whether or not their choices are acceptable or not. That's not my place. But it is my place to care for them or not. And I should care for them because they're another human being who's made up of the same elements that make me up. So how do we do that? How do we take a situation where we are looking around us and we're surrounded by negative, and it makes us feel like, my goodness, we are just living in these societies of poison, right? And we're like, my gosh, and you can stay up late and obsess over this. So what do we do? Well, we've talked about this many times. When a person is a leader, they recognize that they didn't get to where they are alone. Nobody is an island. Nobody achieves what they do in isolation. All of us have had others contribute to who we are, help us, support us in some way, motivate us. And let this be the time where you stop focusing on the negative and break that cycle. Let's think about the positive. And you know what the positive is right now? The positive is we have an opportunity as a species of human beings to decide that instead of creating cultures of negativity and isolation and anger, we can create a culture of care. We can take ownership of not judging one another for the choices and actions that they're making, or that we're making, right? We can create a culture of care in our homes. We can create a culture of care for ourselves. Like, are you putting your mask on first? Like on the airplane when that oxygen comes down? Are you caring for yourself right now? Because you need to. Because if you don't, then that lack of care for yourself can translate into a lack of care for others around you because you're struggling. It's a whole cycle and it's all connected. And what we have to remember is that none of us are in isolation. We're all connected. And when we can appreciate what other people are giving to us by the gift of their existence, it changes us. It changes our perspective. I'm challenging myself, and I'm challenging you, and I'm challenging us as a species. Maybe COVID is not such a horrible thing. Maybe it's an opportunity for us to press the reset button. We can do it. We can try. Happy Thanksgiving.